Yeah, so today I'm going to take you through the hip hinge movement, starting from the knees and going all the way to standing, right? So this is a good exercise you can do if you're having trouble learning the hip hinge, to try to groove the pattern and to get more proficient with it, right? So the first thing we're going to do to start is we're going to start the hip hinge from the knees, right? And what we're going to do from here is we're going to have our hands on our hips to start. And what we're going to do is we're going to look up onto the horizon, and what we're going to do is I'm going to take my both hands and I'm going to chop at the pelvis, right? As I chop at the pelvis, I'm going to drop my hips back. Not too far, you don't want to get excessive range of motion here, but we're just getting that movement, and we're going to pop up into full extension here, right? So we're going to get a couple of these. So chop at the hips, come down, and back up, and again, chop, and back out, right? So what we're going to do with this one is we're going to breathe in as we're coming up, and exhale as we're coming into extension. Perfect, right? So the next progression to this is with the resistance band. So what we're going to do is we're going to stay on our knees. I'm just going to stand up here. I'm going to put my hips over the band here. And what this is going to do is it's going to give us some feedback again on our hips to make sure that we're hinging properly and give us a little bit of resistance as well, right? So using the resistance from the band, if you had a partner, they would be able to taper the resistance for you. But right now I'm here by myself, so we're just going to anchor the band to a door frame and do it this way, right? So what we're going to do, again, so the band is going to tell you where to hinge. Breathe in as you're coming in. And exhale and squeeze the glutes at the top. The band is really going to help you with engagement of those glutes. Breathe in. And again. Perfect, right? So that's the hip hinge with the band from the knees. From there, what we're going to do is going to progress from the hip hinge to standing up, right? So the way we're going to do this is, again, we're going to start from that hip hinge position. We're going to hinge the hips, and then what we're going to do as we come up, we're going to step our knee forward, and then we're going to step pretty close to the body, so closer than you think. And then what we're going to use this knee to stand on up, right? This is a basic life skill, knowing how to stand up, right? Seems basic, but a lot of people have trouble with it, right? So we're going to try that again. Starting from the knees, hinge those hips. And we're going to take the opposite leg, right? And stand up. Good, just like that, right? So once we're able to do the hinging from the hips and standing up, we're going to stay standing up, and we're going to do our hip hinging from here. And we're going to use our handy dandy dowel here, right? So the dowel is going to do is going to give us some feedback to know that we're in a good position, right? So we're going to have the dowel on our back here. So one hand at our lumbar spine and one hand up here at our cervical spine, right? So we're going to have our head touching and our butt touching. And as we're doing the hip hinge, we're going to make sure that we have the right points of contact at all times. And if things start to go off, we're going to get that feedback. I'm like, okay, something's wrong. We're going to try to repeat the movement, right? So starting from here, we're going to go to that good hip hinge position and back up. There we go. Yeah, that first one didn't feel right because I didn't feel the band, or I didn't feel the dowel on my lumbar spine. And back up. There we go. And again. Awesome. Get a couple more here. There's a balance there. Let's get one more, just to make that last one. Awesome. Perfect. Once you pass the dowel, we can move on to the basic hinging and the hip hinge from standing. And what we're going to do is I'm going to stand a little bit closer to the wall, and I'm going to perform the hip hinge, but get my butt to touch the wall, right? So perform the hip hinge, get my butt to touch the wall, so I know I have range in this capacity, right? I have the capacity to get to this range, right? So then I'm going to do is I'm going to take a step forward. I'm going to try again. Hinge, hinge, hinge. Oh, that was a little far, so I'll take a step back. Try to taper it to see what my range actually is with this movement. So I'm going to hinge again. There, I got it. Maybe I'll take one more step forward, teeny tiny step. Hinge, boom. And then you're going to taper this with your client or with yourself to find that exact range, that range that works for you, and that's going to be your hip hinge range. So that was the hip hinge groove the pattern sequence, and I hope you learned something and you apply it into your own training. Thank you so much.